We all have cheating moments that make us scratch our heads. We all know that sports can get intense and sometimes players, coaches, or even entire teams can bend the rules to gain an advantage. From sneaky tactics to blatant cheating, the NBA has had its fair share of scandalous moments. Number 1. So here's the first scoop. Back in the day, Stephen Smith and some other ASU players got caught up in a scandal with a local bookmaker. This guy bribed them to intentionally lose games and mess with the point spread. Can you believe it? His name was Benjamin Silman, and he got busted big time. He ended up serving almost 4 years in federal prison after admitting to fixing 4 Arizona State basketball games and taking money from gamblers. And get this, these pro sports handicappers bet a whopping $568,000 based on Silman's shady antics. Number 2. So get this, there was an NBA ref who rigged games from 2005 to 2007. He straight up blew calls or made the wrong ones just so he could win bets on the point spread. The FBI got wind of it and launched an investigation. Long story short, he ended up getting convicted and sent to prison for 15 months. Can you believe that? This whole situation just proves how greed can mess with everyone involved in the game, including the refs themselves. Crazy stuff, right? Number 3. If a team wants to get an advantage, they gotta dig deep into their bag of tricks. And let me tell you, Dwayne Wade's bag is something else. He pulled off a slick move by throwing Mike Bibby's shoe off the court when it fell off his foot. Talk about thinking on your feet. Wade was feeling pretty smug after the game, thinking he outsmarted everyone. Bibby was left standing there, wondering how no foul was called. It kinda worked, but here's the kicker. The Knicks still managed to score with an alley-oop to Tyson Chandler. Wade may have thought he was being clever, but it looked like he was just picking on poor Bibby. Like having both shoes on would make him lightning fast or something. Number 4. When it comes to New Orleans Pelicans guard Rajon Rondo, there's always something interesting happening. And true to form, he did something unconventional in Game 2 against the Golden State Warriors. With the score at 119 to 113 and only 28 seconds remaining, Golden State's Draymond Green stood at the free throw line and successfully made his first shot. Rondo then grabbed the ball and wiped the sweat from his forehead and face before handing it back to the official. In fact, he rubbed so much sweat on the ball between free throws that the referee had to wait as Rondo continued to run the leather across his face a few more times. This wasn't the first time Rondo had played mind games with Green either, as he had previously delayed Green's previous foul shot by pacing back and forth across the lane. It's quite surprising that Rondo didn't get called for a delay of game violation, but perhaps the officials are simply impressed by his boldness. Number 5. J.R. Smith is such a character. During the Cavs game against the Bucks, he went over to hug his old friend Jason Terry. Sounds nice, right? Well, it was even better for Terry's team. Why? Because JR completely forgot about his defensive duties and left Tony Snell wide open for an easy dunk. Was this all part of some grand plan? It's definitely one of the most memorable moments in basketball. I wasn't even paying attention, admitted Smith when questioned about the incident. I didn't even remember doing that. When a reporter pointed out the specific play and informed him of his mistake leading to the uncontested dunk, Smith's response got even stranger as he pleaded ignorance. I didn't even realize I was in the game, he confessed. My bad. That's how your bench can really lend a helping hand when it comes to scoring. Number 6. Karen Butler was clearly ticked off at the end of the Los Angeles Clippers' 98-73 blowout loss to the Toronto Raptors on Friday. Like, seriously frustrated. So, what does he do? He walks up to Jonas Valanciunas, the center for the Raptors, who were just holding onto the ball until time ran out. And get this, Butler pretended to give him a high five, but then steals the ball from right under his nose and goes for an easy layup. Smooth move, right? We can't blame Butler too much for wanting to make an easy shot. The guy only hit 3 of 12 for the whole night. Obviously, losing doesn't sit well with him because he's all about that competitive spirit. Maybe that steal was just his way of venting frustration or something. Who knows? But hey, gotta give props to Butler for making that play happen. Number 7. This move might be considered a trick, illusion, or even a stroke of genius, but we prefer to see it showcased here. McGee passed the ball to LeBron at the top of the arc, faked an injury, and hobbled below the baseline. Meanwhile, with the Warriors preoccupied with their numerical advantage over the Lakers' remaining players, McGee sprang into action. He darted into the paint, caught the pass, and effortlessly slammed it home for 2 points. Maybe, just like we underestimated McGee this whole time, we've been underestimating the Warriors too. Number 8. There was this thing going on a few years ago where guys would try to untie the shoes of opposing players, but it died down after a while. But guess what? It made a comeback when Markelle Fultz of the Magic untied his former teammate Terrence Ross's shoe right before he was about to take the game-winning free throws. Talk about a tricky move. Fultz tried to mess with Ross's head by untying his shoe as he walked by. But guess what? It didn't work. Ross stayed focused and drained both free throws. Surprisingly, no technical foul was called, even though that move can usually result in one. Fultz got away with it this time, but you can bet the referee took notice and will be more vigilant in the future. Number 9. So apparently James Harden was not happy when some fan decided to shine a laser pointer at him during a game. Can you believe that? Harden actually threw the ball at the guy and let the officials know what was going on. The fan didn't get off easy either. He got kicked out of the Energy Solutions Arena and banned for a whole year. Laser pointers might be fun for kids in math class, but using them at a game? Come on, that's pathetic. Number 10. So you've seen fans cheating, but have you ever heard of cheerleaders cheating on players? Let me tell you about the Houston Rockets and their creative tactics. These guys will do anything to distract opponents from making successful free throws. Thank goodness, they may not have faked the birth of a fully grown person, but they've definitely pulled off some strange moves. Just take a look what these cheerleaders are up to while the player is shooting. Number 11. When it comes to sports teams, you have your regular fans, and then you have the superfans. For the Brooklyn Nets, one superfan stands out above the rest, Mr. Whammy, or as his real name is, Bruce Resnick. Standing just a few feet in front of his seat behind the basket, Mr. Whammy jumps up and down and waves his fingers in an attempt to put a spell on the visiting team's players. With pinky and index fingers extended and shaking both hands, he casts what he calls the whammy on their player about to take the shot. And it's not just physical gestures. Mr. Whammy even talks some playful trash. Okay, 3, look at me. Look at me, 3. He taunts as San Antonio Spurs guard Keldon Johnson lines up for his first shot. And wouldn't you know it, Johnson sinks it. Mr. Whammy's dedication and unique rituals have made him an iconic figure among Nets fans. Game after game, he brings his energy and enthusiasm to support his team in every way possible, even if it means trying to cast a spell on opponents from behind the basket. Number 12. Alright, that's one way to stop a fast break. We can see some mop-up boys on the floor playing intense defense for the team. Rule number 1, never turn your back on the play. Now, we're not sure if there's an official rule about this in the NBA, but the referees treated it like a part of play and let everyone keep going. Those mop crews are always out there ensuring the floor is dry and safe for the players. We mean they're consistently cleaning up all that sweat to prevent injuries. Anyway, this whole situation was just a strange incident. We can't really confirm if it's considered cheating or not. But hey, it definitely made for an interesting moment in the game. And that's it. We don't want to paint the NBA as a den of cheaters. There are countless examples of fair play and sportsmanship. But let's face it, these cheating moments add some spice to the game. So next time you watch an NBA game and something seems a little off, remember that cheating is a part of sports history. And hey, if nothing else, it gives us fans something to argue about and, of course, something to subscribe to our channel.